Yo, it's your boy, Brendan Crozier.
The comedian!
Anybody new here? This is not a podcast or comedy drama channel at all. What we're going to be looking at is strictly the stand-up. From a review standpoint, we're not going to be watching Burn the Boats. Everybody's already shit on that to death. What we're going to be watching is, I got tricked by the title of a video that I watched. I thought it was from 2019. It is actually from 2012. It is Live at the Tabernacle. What I'm more so interested in is sort of viewing this with the context of where he is now, and also what we've seen from Brendan Schaub and Brian Callen.
I write shit down when I'm high and I get mad at myself when I'm sober. I wrote this down. A unicorn is a donkey from the future.
I'm expecting a lot of material that's going to be that, like, whoa, look at this stoner thought that I had. Pretty easy, low effort joke to do that I feel like a lot of people have sort of adopted since seeing, like, oh, Joe Rogan can do it. Oh, I can do that too. It's like, yeah, you can. It is not hard.
I support gay marriage because I'm in a regular marriage and it's gay as fuck.
Okay, let's see what he does with this.
Some of these are jokes. My marriage is not, and I should clarify what I mean when I say that marriage is gay. I don't mean it's negative. A lot of people get mad if you go to a movie, you come out and go, oh man, that movie was gay. Because they say, hey man, what if a gay person hears that and they feel terrible because you're associating something they can't change, their sexuality, with something negative. And that is not what I mean when I say that marriage is gay. What I mean is that it's like two dudes fucking each other. It's not gay if you're happy. I'm happy, man. I love my wife. I love having kids. I've never been more happy in my life. But I know I'm not going through a divorce right now. And that's when shit gets crazy. Because that's when you all of a sudden have to talk to some people you don't even know, and they decide what happens with all your money. Shit gets nuts when you realize that a lot of the legal system isn't really designed to solve problems. It's designed to make lawyers money. So they're allowed to keep arguing. They fucking keep arguing. You're like, can we settle this shit? And it never gets settled. I watched a friend lose everything he earned in a 3-year marriage.
Gay people?
He worked for 10 years, 10, 12 hours a day, and just fucked up and married over his head. Shit got crazy. He had to pay for her lawyer. Can you imagine what it would be like to go to war for the rest of your money and you have to pay for the enemy's general? I watched him go fucking crazy. I watched him at red lights just going fuck, 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 fuck. You're like, what's wrong, man? Nothing, nothing, nothing. The dude was just, he was murder-suicidal. We were talking him off the edge. I guarantee you, if you came up to my friend Matt at his darkest moment and said, listen, Matt, I can fix your life. I have a time machine. And this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna press this button. And we're gonna go back in time to the moment before you met your wife, and you are gonna get to live your life over again, knowing the mistakes of the past. But before we do, suck my cock real quick. That's how gay marriage can get. Because I don't know how you'd respond.
That was a lot of setup to get there, Joseph. I guess I haven't done one of these videos in a while, but that feels like one of the worst bits I've heard in a long time.
In the same situation, but I'm pretty sure my friend Matt would have knocked himself unconscious sliding into that dude's pelvis. He would have sucked.
So, like, the joke is that marriage is gay because you would rather, you would be gay to get your divorce over with faster. It makes less sense the more I think about it. Also, this, in the context of one of those, like, Joe Rogan, like, gay highlight reels, if you've ever seen one of those.
Some dudes are not into that. They're into the twinks. Beautiful looking, you know, European looking man. Like, beautiful little cutie, little handsome fella. Yeah. But he's a cute looking guy. Like, he could be like the sweet next door neighbor on a, maybe even the gay neighbor.
Would just fit in very nicely.
That dick like it was the horn of freedom.
Oh yeah.
Like he was on a cliff with a conch shell.
All this influence right here, all this stuff, Brian Callen saw this and was just like, light bulb. Because, like, he's obviously not doing this to try to make himself look gay, but it's And it's almost like part of the joke. It's like, see, but he's doing all this gay stuff, but he's not gay. But also, it's like the extreme sort of detail he's going into. And it's not in a way that makes it funnier. Because you can do jokes that, like, make you gay in the context of the joke. Or make you, like, act out something gay. Like, classic bit, Matt and Shane's Secret Podcast. Shane always talking about his bit about if someone puts a gun to your head and makes you like suck your dad's dick or whatever, and he talks about standing 69ing his dad. But it's a ridiculous premise, and it's funny where it's just like this feels a little gratuitous, Joe.
You know, no one knows what the fuck the future holds. So you to say it's impossible to have anything in the future is silly. And the guys, you don't understand science. It's called the grandfather paradox. The reason why a time machine's impossible is because if you had a time machine, you could go back in time and kill your grandfather before your father was ever conceived. Thus, you could have never have existed to make that time machine. And I'm like, what kind of an asshole wants to kill his grandpa? Out of all the douchey shit you could do with a time machine, that's the name of a scientific principle, really? How about go back to high school and fuck everyone, paradox?
Oh, why would you? Wait. I was kind of liking where that bit was going. I was just like, oh, okay, this is okay. But you would use a time machine to fuck high schoolers? That's what you would do? What the fuck? Oh, my God. Ah. Woo!
I wouldn't kill Grandpa, but I'll fuck the shit out of a few confused 18-year-olds. 1985, oh shit, I might be running things. I would go straight Prince Purple Rain on those hookers, all right? That I might do. Yeah, that's creepy, but what am I gonna do? I time traveled. I might show up while Hitler's taking a shit and punch him right in the dick. Can you imagine? If you could just pinpoint your location, show up in Hitler's bathroom. Oh, these Jews, I hate these Jews. You disappear, he's screaming.
Let me just say this. There's still time. The joke isn't over yet. I don't think he's a very good comedian. And case in point right here, I think this is a very good example. You have a premise that is so open-ended as what you would do if you went back in time with a time machine. You could do literally anything. That gives you an excuse to be in any kind of situation at any given time with anybody ever. And the premise itself was okay. Like, what kind of asshole would go back in time and kill his grandfather? That's okay. That's fine. I didn't think that was a bad premise. It was a start. But then the joke is I would go back and fuck high schoolers. And there wasn't really anything else on top of that. Where if you develop that into something that's like funny and not just like peering into your pedo adjacent fantasies, yeah, that's all it really feels like it is. And then the next part of the premise that he just sort of abruptly jumps to is like, I would go back in time and punch Hitler, which is a joke and a premise that everybody has done in a more creative way than that in the past. I got a better fucking going back in time and doing something to Hitler joke than that.
We were so unoriginal.
Yes, you are. Yeah, no, this shit sucks.
Because you look at the shit that we have that might fuck the world up that we already used. Like nuclear power. You see what's going on in Japan? That's fucking scary. They don't know how to turn nuclear power plants off. Did you ever even guess that that was the case? Wouldn't you have assumed there was a conversation about that back in 1970? Hey man, what happens if the power goes out? Dude, don't be negative. It's not gonna go out. We're just gonna build this sun out in a field. We're pretty sure we can keep it cool. Or it'll eat through the fucking earth. What are you, children making shit? What the fuck are you doing? They wanted to cool it off, so they poured millions of gallons of ocean water on it. And then they poured that water right back in the ocean. Like, do you motherfuckers not watch your own monster movies?
I've heard worse jokes than that. This is another okay premise. I'm not counting on him doing anything else fun with it.
I think that people are responsible for the Big Bang. And it's the stupidest idea I've ever come up with. And it's not even really my idea because I was high on a pot brownie in an isolation tank when I came up with it.
Everybody claps and cheers. Weed, yes!
But the
idea is, we're fascinated by technology. The biggest experiment right now is the Large Hadron Collider. You guys know what that is? It's the biggest experiment in human history. It's 10,000 different scientists scientists from 100 different countries, and they made this 22-mile-long something fucking machine that's spinning these atoms around a hair at the speed of light. They're gonna slam them into each other and make little black holes. But what's crazy about that is those particle physicist dudes that nobody understands, one of their theories is that inside every black hole may be a whole nother universe. And that what the whole universe might be is galaxies. Inside every galaxy is a black hole. Inside that black hole, hundreds of billions of galaxies, each with black holes in the center, each with hundreds of billions of galaxies. And it's fractal, and it will go on forever. And they're just making this shit in Switzerland. It's a bunch of fucking dudes, and everybody's like, well, we gotta stop getting married.
Joe Rogan is like the poster child for this genre of comedy where you just like go into obscure pages on Wikipedia and then just read them to an audience full of people and then go like, what's that game people play? Yeah, he's like a Wikipedia speedrun comedy.
We are gonna make the fucking Big Bang. And I know it sounds ridiculous, and especially coming from the Fear Factor guy, it loses all credibility.
See, now that is like self-aware and like self-deprecating in a way that's like kind of real and honest. It's not super demeaning to Joe, so he gets a pass on that line for me, but he's probably not going to do much of that the rest of this.
The Mayans had amazing technology. The Mayans could predict lunar eclipses 1,000 years in the future. Did you know they figured that out? Did you know they hadn't figured out shoes? We can right into a fucking electrical tower. What kind of shit existence is that? And how do we know that the bird death was a bad thing? How do we know it wasn't just one badass worm that became a fucking sorcerer? Got tired of those cunt birds eating his whole worm family. So he put on a hat with moons and lightning bolts on it. Fire came from his head and the birds fell out of the sky. Ah! How come it can't be a happy story?
Joe Rogan just sort of like sees a headline or is told something by someone, and his like way of sort of turning it into a joke, he's like, what if it was like crazy though? But what if it was crazy? And that's how you get a joke like that.
This is how far it was. I'm sitting on my porch, right? So my porch is right here, and the door to my house is right here. Not that far away, right? Fucking the mountain line's way out there. And I didn't know there was a mountain line.
Wait,
there.
another...
I'm just sitting in the back porch going...
This is a mountain lion story. Or have I heard this before?
Was it a fucking dog? And this is where I panicked when I saw the tail. It moved out of the woods and it popped its head between two trees and we made eye contact. And I did not mean to do this, but my whole body dropped by 2 inches and I went, oh! Like there was no chest puffing. What, bitch? Think you gonna fuck around on my lawn? All I was thinking was I was sitting on the porch, I was looking at the door, and I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna make it. I just looked at this thing, and the realization that I fucked up, it was so strong. It was such like a, what did you do? What the fuck are you doing? The only thing that's close to that feeling is when you're talking to a girl, and halfway through the conversation you realize, this is a dude.
I'm trying to connect all the dots here with these bits, because he tells this story about this visceral reaction, this strong feeling he had of mortality and like, oh no, I made a mistake and I can't go back on it because he's about to get killed by a mountain lion. And then he's just like, you know what that's like? Talking to a transgender person by mistake. And I guess he hasn't gotten to the point yet, but I'm just like, he hasn't made a lot of salient points so far in this. So let me see.
And I couldn't figure out how to approach the situation. Do you fucking run for it, then its instincts kick in, and it starts chasing you? Or do you treat it like an asshole and just start moving a little bit at a time? Like, what, you think I'm stupid, bitch?
I feel like it's a more common situation. If that does happen, you can just be like, hey, respect, I'm not in the mountain lions, but, wish you the best. And then, go about your way and nobody's going to get hurt. But no, talking to a trans person, I couldn't imagine that. Oh my God.
They had a sign up, if you get attacked by a bear, play dead. If you get attacked by a mountain lion, fight back. Really? You got signs on how to fight monsters? Why don't you burn these fucking trees down? You got monsters hiding in the trees. How much do you really like looking at trees? You need a certain...
Kind of bombed right there. I think that's sort of one of the hazards of having this style that Joe Rogan has. I mean, when you're at a low level and you're not doing theaters like this, I mean, you're going to be bombing with like pretty much everything you say. But like when there's not much of a difference between like all of your setups and your punchlines, like the audience is eventually just going to kind of get worn out. There's like a fatigue that's going to set in on them, and they're not going to know when they're supposed to laugh and when they're not. And I think that was sort of an example of that right there.
And you're pissed and you're like, I probably should just get the fuck out of here, right? What kind of a joke is that? Fucking ridiculous, man. I'm preparing for the apocalypse. I thought the
What a segue, bro. Look at the master work.
apocalypse wasn't going to happen as soon as Rick Santorum dropped out of the race. I'm like, wow.
I think I gotta go. I think the local open mic needs a host, and that's where I come in. We're back again. They did not need me to host, but I did go and perform. Though it was just an open mic, I was a part of what may have been the worst comedy show of all time. Now, a day later, I'm even more so in the right headspace to watch and listen to Joe Rogan.
In the fucking frozen north. She's not even in America.
Pauses.
Okay? She's living up in some place that's not attached.
Pauses. Takes a while. Like I was saying, like the fatigue is sort of set in. Sometimes it takes them a minute to realize that it's when Joe Rogan stops talking, that's when they're supposed to laugh. It's not when he says something funny, because it never really happens.
There's a lot of bitch men out there that think life is a Kevin Costner movie and they're waiting in line to buy a book from her. She's gonna sign. You're waiting in line to get a book signed by a chick who doesn't read books. Come here, son. Have you ever done squats? Do you know about beep squats? Do you know about deadlifts?
What are we talking about now? So you shouldn't be waiting in line to wait for Sarah Palin to sleep with you because you bought her book. What you should be doing is doing squats. That's what I think the point he just made is. Let's see if he further elaborates on that, because that was a lot to pick up in a short amount of time. You gotta have a pretty high IQ to understand Joe Rogan's stand-up.
Bison meat, it's really healthy for you.
Bison meat.
Well, Sarah Palin, I just think, is the only hope for the conservative movement in this country. They have like a planned speech to meet her. Mrs. Palin, I just want to say that you make me proud to be an American.
One, we just started talking about squats, and then maybe he's going to bring it back to squats again, but then we just completely abandoned it. And two, I, believe it or not, I've met a woman before, and never once have I talked with a woman about bison meat. I don't know. Maybe I would talk to more if I cared more about bison meat. But anyway.
When a man meets a woman and she's wearing glasses, the very first thing that pops into his head is, I wonder what it would look like if I came on those glasses.
Oh, the crowd goes wild.
It's not something we dwell on, but it fucking pops in there, man. You just get it down. Hey, stop with all that. Pleasure to meet you too, Mrs. Clinton. You know, but you don't want to dwell.
Has Hillary Clinton ever worn glasses? Oh, we found one. Okay, so it has happened.
You don't want to dwell on, but it's not fair, man. She can get fucking contacts. She knows what she's doing. She's sending a signal. What's up with this?
It's kind of like Tom Myers, where it's like the premise itself doesn't make a lot of sense. I don't know if that is a common fetish, that maybe I'm just not keyed into the glasses, facials, and all that. Maybe I'm vanilla in that way. Like, but then afterwards, it's just like she knows what she was doing. She could have gotten contacts like that. If the premise didn't come off as just completely like schizophrenic to me, that would be like, if this was a universe that I lived in, I'd be like, that was a good line too. That tag that he did right there with the contacts. There was like the fundamentals of a joke there, but I don't know. The premise just doesn't seem of this earth to me. I don't know. What was that?
Really do.
What was that voice? Is this guy okay? What the fuck was it? What the fuck? This guy, he's somehow coming off as like less with it than he is. Maybe he's smarter now than he was before. Why did he leave his cup on the ground? Why does he leave his cup on the ground? Why does he do this voice? What the fuck is going on?
And the worst dirt he could dig out was that she might have had an affair with a jet ski salesman. And I'm like, do you have any idea how persuasive you would have to be a jet ski salesman in Alaska?
This is a good premise. This is a good premise. He should have something. He should have something good for this. This is going in a good direction. We could drag ourselves out of the depths. This is going somewhere. I can feel it, Joe.
I mean, are you really blaming her for that? That guy might be able to fuck everyone in this room.
Every joke he does kind of comes back to like, well, but what if I was gay? And that's what this turn feels like to me.
Before we even knew what happened. That guy might be a fucking hypnotist. He's selling watercraft in a place where everything's frozen. Are we really discounting his pimp game? Just out there hunting moose and shit. What's he gonna do? Baby, you need a jet ski? I like working for the UFC, but I don't like...
What the fuck? That was it! What is this? What are these transitions, Joe? Where did that go?
He's selling
He might be a hypnotist, selling watercraft in it, where everything's frozen. People understand that's an unlikely profession to have in a place like that. He's got to be a pretty talented salesman. What else?
Are we really discounting his pimp game?
Pimp game. Okay. Now what?
Just out there hunting moose and shit.
Out there hunting moose. What's he gonna do?
You need a jet ski?
Baby, you need a jet ski? Surely that isn't the last tag of this premise.
I like working.
Yeah, I'm in the UFC. He doesn't know how to do stand-up at all.
For the UFC, but I don't like being around that many men who can rape me.
Why do you think like this, bro? Like, this is like when we watch the Kosh sing, and he's just like, I know you're all thinking it. I'm so rapeable. And it's like, no, bro, I wasn't thinking that at all. It's like, what? Where do these fucking guys come from?
I was hanging out with Dan Henderson once, and we went to a comedy club, and the guy was heckling at the comedy club. And I go, if you don't shut the fuck up, I'm gonna have Dan Henderson fuck your girlfriend while he holds you down.
That guy must have been really annoying at the comedy club.
And I look over at Dan, and Dan, without missing a beat, goes, why would I hold him down when I could just stare him down?
But what Joe Rogan proposed is Dan Henderson is going to hold down this man, I guess with one arm, maybe. Dan Henderson's really strong. And then with the rest of his body or whatever, you're going to hold down a separate person while you have sex with somebody else. So, like, maybe if Dan Henderson somehow just leaned back on this man, Dan Henderson would be smart enough to not give up his back that easily. I know, I think, what was it, John Jones got him that way, but the average guy off the street, I don't think I'm going to be able to choke Dan Henderson, even if he did give up his back. I'm sure he can tuck his chin pretty well. I don't know what Joe Rogan imagined in his head. I don't know if he imagined anything. I think Joe Rogan gets an idea in his head, and he doesn't say what he's thinking. I think he tries to say something maybe a little bit less suspicious than maybe what he's thinking, and then sometimes it just doesn't come out like a coherent or realistic premise. Anyway.
Josh Barnett, that might have been the creepiest shit anybody ever said in front of me in my life.
Josh Barnett? Wait. Josh Barnett and Dan Henderson are two very, very different people. I know this isn't the UFC Tribunal, but...
I was hanging out with Dan Henderson once, and we went to a comedy club.
No, he just said Dan Henderson, and now suddenly it's Josh Barnett.
Josh Barnett, that might have been the creepiest shit anybody ever said in front. You're talking to a guy like Brock Lesnar, and he's standing over you. There's at least 1% of your brain that's going, please don't fuck me.
I don't know if anybody ever played this side-by-side before, what I'm about to do. Because I know exactly... I can tell you exactly the moment that Joe Rogan thought this. Is that your please don't fuck me face, Joe? Anyway, moving on.
It's not that even if he was gay, he couldn't do better than me. He could do way better than me.
This is the gayest shit I've ever heard in my life.
If Brock Lesnar wanted to fuck you, it'd be his call. What are you going to do, fight it off for a certain amount of time?
That will...
When you get that guy the size of Brock Lesnar, he might be able to...
I will say this is aged extremely poorly, given the Janelle Grant accusations.
Fuck you on the stage. You want to drag you up here, pants doing Brock smash! Ah!
Classic.
And there might be
there it is. That's an iconic bit. I just knew that act out. I didn't even know that was the bit itself.
The only one in here that might be able to do something about it is Josh. And I might want to watch this play out.
You think Josh Barnett would watch you get raped by Brock Lesnar and not do anything about it? What is going on in your fucking head, bro?
What? Brock smash you! Fuck Stampede.
I can't imagine being Joe Rogan doing like stand-up about Brock Lesnar, who he has met before and since then, like professionally, and talking like this.
See, the problem with masturbation really is, the fleshlight is far superior to masturbation, because when you masturbate, you can feel your hand. So while you're masturbating, at least 50% of your brain's going, dude, you got a dick in your hand.
Is that what you're thinking, Joe? I do think that's what Joe is thinking. I absolutely would have guessed that is what Joe is thinking.
She had given birth to our second child. Now, doctors would tell you that when a woman gives birth, she's not allowed to have sex for 6 weeks. I say 8 because I know how I fuck. What's up?
If I hadn't been sitting through the rest of this special, getting waterboarded by like Joe Rogan's sort of psychosexual delusions and inability to put a joke together, maybe I would have liked that. But I think I've just been tortured too much at this point for me to get anything out of it. And I also don't fucking believe it. I can't watch this and believe that Joe Rogan has any sort of like security, like sexually.
6 weeks? Dude, her taint looks like Nick Diaz's eyebrows. Can't we live a little extra time? Do you even know what the fuck you're proposing?
That's fucking... That is absolutely disgusting, but it's also... I don't think it's a bad line either. So, clap it up. Clap it up for Joe, everybody.
No, we're gonna use a midwife, and we're gonna have it in my bathtub. Ooh, why don't you shit that baby on the bottom of a teepee, Pocahontas?
He's
heating
heating
up.
up.
Rinse it off in river water and hide the placenta from the wolves.
This is prime Joe Rogan right here.
You have modern technology that makes you feel nothing while your pussy explodes.
He's the Rogan Al-Ga'ib.
Duke of Arrakis. Eruditina Heshidani. Nelisan Al-Ga'ib. Ruin di Menaruk. Ashini. Listen Al-Ga'ib.
So he gives me the baby. He's like, cut the cord. I go to cut the cord. Instead of cutting it, I went like this. You know that little sideways thing that happens sometimes when you go to cut something? Like, what a shit way to start a life.
He's cooking.
Start a life with a dorky fucking something. I'm trying to see how fast. No, this is not a text. I'm recording. I'm recording the whole show. Well, I'm filming this, but I'm also recording it myself because I'm a fucking weirdo and I have to listen to it in my hotel room.
first things first, if you're a comic, you should be doing that. That being said, sometimes you'll see people and they're like so like rigid and like militant with their sort of process, and they're like, I'm going to detail and keep track of every single moment of stand up that I do, and I'm going to listen back to every single syllable that comes out of my mouth. And then you see them on stage and they're doing shit like this. What the fuck is this like fake scientific approach that you have to all this that could not be less cerebral? It literally is just like ooga booga fucking comedy. I don't know. It's it's like I used to play hockey, and it's like seeing the kid that has like the most expensive stick. He has like a tinted visor on his helmet and all that, and he comes out and he like can't even skate backwards. That's what it feels like to me when someone is just like, I record all my sets. I listen back to them 3 times, and you watch them, and they're just like, y'all ever just be titty fucking your balls?
You know, a lot of people are quiet at the ATM machine, just like at a bathroom. This is what I do, and this is what you can do too, but you have to do it all the time. If you're going to commit to this, it must be 100% of the time. As soon as the money comes out, you go, dollar bills, y'all!
If we keeping the book right now, we ask. So
it's especially fun if you don't know if the money's coming. They're like, 60? Did I get crazy? 60?
That joke is too lame for my mom to do it.
I caught myself singing Hey There Delilah once in an elevator, and I didn't even realize I was singing it until I noticed that my legs were rubbing together like a cricket. I was alone. I was vulnerable. I was like, oh, what you do to me? Oh, what's up? It's like I was being attacked by a gay ghost. What's going on here?
Ugh, just be gay, Joe. I understand why him and Callan are such good friends now. It's funny that like they're both the same exact guy of like repressed homosexual tendencies, but like Brian is still like the beta to Joe's alpha. It's a very silly dynamic.
Where is this coming from? Hey there, Delilah, what's it like in New York City? Don't you want to answer that question? I bet it's awesome, because you're not there, you fucking rhyming stalker weirdo. How about you let her go, dude?
A 2-pack of ass.
This is like terrible open mic level. How could a train be crazy? It's literally on tracks. Trains can't be. Bro, get off the stage, bro. We gave you the light already. You have nothing. Get the fuck out of here.
I don't like getting sucked into anybody's depressed thoughts. I don't mind if what you're thinking about is some kind of stupid shit, because I like a lot of stupid shit. I don't think there's any one correct way to live this life. I have a feeling that this life that you and I are experiencing might just be one frame in some infinite movie that goes on forever and makes no sense to any of us. And I think that the one thing that we can really choose to do, we can choose to have more fun. We can choose to take shit less seriously, be a cooler person, tip more, cut the cunts out of your life, and have yourself a good fucking time. Which is why I like listening to Ludacris. I've never seen a picture of Ludacris crying. But you know what he knows? He knows he's got enough money to keep his wheels shiny as fuck. So he gets right in front of him and goes, ooh! And he's happy, because you can't say shit! Done! Ooh! What you do to me?
What a killer callback to his impression of Hey There Delilah from earlier.
Oh, what you do to me? Hey man, it's the end of the world. We're at Craig's house, and we're all reading poetry and crying. I would love it if you could come over here. Yeah, I would, but I'm at Ludacris's house, and it's made out of diamonds. Got a big weed stand, pocket full of cash. I became a vegan once I realized that if you don't kill animals, they live forever and become magic.
What are we doing? All right.
And I got this tattoo. It's in ancient Sanskrit. And what it means is, it's a symbol for universal oneness. And that's what I believe, man. I believe that we are all connected, but that insecurity keeps us from recognizing that. But that love, unconditional love, is what brings it all together. So I got this tattoo. Cut to ludicrous. This tattoo says, "Bitches be sucking my dick, yo." How you gonna
Don't
act like I don't blow clouds?
stop. Stop, bro. Stop.
It might be gayer to sing that song than it is to jerk off while looking a man in the eyes.
I'm sure you thought about this very carefully, so
You think I'm scared to come on you? You think I'm scared? Especially if you go knuckles up. That's an aggressive posture. You're sending a message like, I don't even want to be comfortable. Thank you, Atlanta.
dog shit. I hated this, and one of the main reasons why I hated it's my own personal reason. Obviously, it's bad stand-up. There's fucking nothing going on in this, except for, repressed gay thoughts. The problem with all the gay stuff is that it runs counter to the purpose. Like, if it was part of the joke, everything would be sort of building off of it. But he sets up a premise and then has this like gay shit that just comes in and just fucking boom T-bones his fucking act. That's supposed to count as like a joke. But no, what I hate about this the most is that I see some of my friends who are less fortunate than me. I see some of them in this stand-up. And I have a couple of friends who I wish never watched Joe Rogan once in their life, or, thought this was funny when they were a teenager or whatever. Finally wrapping this bullshit up. Brian Callen got a 1. This is better than Brian Callen. Brendan Schaub got a 1.5. I think Brendan Schaub's better. I am going to give this a 1.25 out of 10. May God have mercy on your soul. You got like a rubric for stand-up, like in school. Like, every single way that this could be bad or fail, it does. There's times where it looks like he doesn't even remember what his material is. The transitions are all just clunky. He has a couple poorly executed callbacks in there. It's unoriginal. It's lazy. Yeah, it's really hard to point at anything and say, there was effort put into this. Fries in the Bag Award, and back to our regularly scheduled program, man.